Item 5, report of officers. First item, mayor's report. Just want to say happy new year, everyone. We have a lot to cover tonight, so I'm going to do my best to keep this brief. But here are kind of the latest items that the public should be aware. I want to thank just the community at large for just the support and engagement as it relates to the entire tax payment process. I want to thank former Alderperson Bob Smith for his kind words regarding how remarkably well we've progressed in the efforts to right the ship with the city's finances. I couldn't agree more with how much progress has been made. And I'm exceedingly proud of having played a key role and a key part in bringing Cameron Sawyer on board to offer guidance in restoring proper governance inside Mayville City Hall. I also wish to thank again Alderman Joe Tillman for his work as finance chair. I have grown to become confident, in your approach to helping manage the city's financial policy. And I'm glad we've created a constructive business relationship centered toward making that happen. Joe has brought a number of pragmatic and useful ideas into helping Mayville city government operate. One challenge the city has faced and still faces is really the relationship between elected officials and city employees. And I want city employees to have a voice, as do, I'm sure, all of you. And this rift between some elected officials and those that work for the city has caused both Joe and I are committed to solving. And I do think that other alderpersons hold that same sentiment at heart. So in December, Joe distributed an optional employee survey via SurveyMonkey to city employees, where they had the opportunity to rank the mayor and each alderperson on a scale from 1 to 10. And further, employees were given the opportunity to provide their comments about each. In the interest of full transparency, all the rankings and staff comments, which are going to be kept confidential in terms of who made the comments, these will be released within days on the city's website. And then I'll work with the council to find solutions that will help increase trust between city employees and the elected officials who serve on the council. For a brief recap of this past year in 2023, as you recall, it's a pretty painful year. We were without a comptroller treasurer being in place for several months. For the first half of the year, we were limping along with financial software that had not been updated in over 8 years. And to make matters worse, there was no reliable historical data to provide a framework by which we could build the 2024 budget. So we were starting largely from scratch. Joe and I worked together to help get it done with guidance and assistance from both Cameron and Tony Meeks. Thank you both. It was a great success, and we've established, I think importantly, a repeatable process that will be in use for years to come. And I'm pleased to now have a comptroller or treasurer in place, and very happy that Cameron is helping to prepare Tony Meeks for ongoing success in overseeing the city's books. So thank you both. This year's budget process, which certainly ran later into the year than any of us would have liked, became the most transparent budget process Mayville has seen perhaps ever. And the work we did will allow for Tony Meeks to have a strong footing for guiding a transparent and fiscally responsible budget for years 2025 and beyond. Last week, I spent several afternoons in City Hall helping process tax payments. In one instance, I processed an aggregated payment for 350 households totaling approximately $994,000. Balanced to the penny, I might add.
Yeah.
It provided me the opportunity to take a close look at the year-over-year property tax bills citywide. And given the progress we made, I stand by the results of our budgeting process. We're making progress, and I believe that by summer, and these are after having a number of conversations with both Cameron and Tony, I believe that by summer we'll be in very good shape in terms of having established proper governance in the finances for the city. So for no less than 6 years prior to me becoming mayor, the city's finances were mismanaged to the point where that by in 2023, our annual audit was unable to be certified by Baker Tilly. It took extreme measures to help recover information from our dilapidated software so that Baker Tilly could ultimately finish the job we hired them to do. As a result, we maintain our strong bond rating and a solid foundation to effectively manage Mayville's future. That said, there's much work to do so that we never find our way back into the mire in which we found ourselves over the past several years. One ongoing struggle is tied specifically to having supporting documentation on hand in City Hall that validates the veracity of the financial dealings of the city. Having an entry in the GL system is one thing, But having supporting records on hand, which is tied to a specific transaction inside the GL, is absolutely paramount to assure a smooth audit process, let alone mitigate risk of fraud or loss. So I have a unique career role, which provides opportunity to learn about finance and to interpret banks' financial statements and key ratios, which provide clues regarding the health of the banks I'm working with at any given time. It's been refreshing to have the same opportunity as mayor to look at the city's financial statements and learn how to interpret them as well. And what I find fascinating is that the experts, like CPAs like Cameron, they can look at a municipal financial statement, they can interpret the information real time and identify red flags or areas of concern that need to be addressed. The numbers in Mayville's financial statements show that Mayville historically is neglected, or we're at a point where it shows that we've neglected our equipment and infrastructure to the point where if we don't start paying regular attention to proper maintenance of the city's assets, it will adversely impact our bond rating, and it's the taxpayer who will suffer. So it's good that we caught this when we did, and we're on the right path. Just like you must change the oil in your vehicle to make it last, and just like you must perform routine maintenance throughout your home on a regular basis, we must do the same when it comes to keeping our equipment and infrastructure maintained. That was not happening prior to 2022. Instead, the city was slashing budgets seemingly for political gain. I can and will offer several specific examples at another time. With 2024 being an election year, and given all that has transpired over the past year, including the massive harm caused by obstructionists, it will be supremely important to offer citizens the opportunity to observe town hall meetings and debates between those that wish to serve as Mayville's mayor for the next term. As I see it, we either continue forward in making meaningful progress in establishing proper governance within the city, lest we devolve back into the form of government that was in place when I took office. Couple of last points I'll make is that people must choose to get involved if our municipal government is to function properly. Having consistently uncontested seats or completely unfilled seats going into an election is a sad statement about where we are today. A couple of key points that I want to make just unrelated to that. I would advise the public, keep an eye out in your mailbox here in a couple of weeks. You should be receiving a questionnaire in your mailbox related to the city establishing fiber optic connectivity at the home level and at the business level. It's a new opportunity that's come about, and that might begin taking place here in the next couple of months. So stay tuned in your mailbox. There will be a website with information, FAQs and whatnot, more information on what we're talking about, but that's pretty exciting. And then snow parking, as you all know, we have a snowstorm coming. I encourage the public to park off of the streets for the next couple of days so that Jack and the DPW crew can keep the roads clear. They do an excellent job at that. So with that, have a happy new year and we'll move on.
Can I throw in a statement?
Sure.
Something I bring up every year, the paperwork that was so difficult for everybody to go through when they came on board here. Again, I'm gonna suggest that process starts and scan it, get it on jump drives or something, and get rid of all this paperwork.
Which paperwork?
Like in the back rooms.
Oh, yeah.
Boxes, banker box full of papers, and I know there's been problems finding specific documents
Yep.
in that. At some point in the future, I would like to see all that
It's a great point.
and get rid of that.
Yep. No, it's a great point. And I can tell you, so one of the things the council did here recently, and it's had a tremendous impact, is the work study program with the high school. So we have two girls that have been working up front in doing filing and whatnot. I mean, the progress. I think in one case, there were files that were 11 years old. I mean, just been piling up forever. They're fully filed away now. So we're definitely making progress in that regard. So.
In the near future too, all invoices will be scanned into the system and you're able to click on it. So easily access and review it. Anticipate that to be around June.
Okay, cool.
Is that the iPay or is that
My viewpoint.
So yeah, so in terms of the accounting software, there's a lot of functionality that's licensed in what we have now. that will begin rolling out to the council, so you all on a self-serve basis and the department heads on a self-serve basis can go in, check reports and get copies of things. So,
Good to hear.
yep,
And then also, sorry.
go ahead.
Also, the other thing to think about is state and federal guidelines, you still have to have paper copies, whether you scan it in, whether you will always have to have paper
A hard
copies.
copy.
Yeah. So,
I did not know that.
Yep.
Thank you.
you're welcome.
All right, so for a city clerk's report, Chris is out this evening, but just to provide an update, in terms of the nomination papers turned in, from the mayor's role, I turned in nomination papers, Rob Belk turned in nomination papers, and Jesse Liebenow turned in nomination papers, which will necessitate a primary election, which will occur on February 20th. This year's election, the spring election, is also going to be for wards 2, 4, and 6. Joe Tillman filed for Ward 2, uncontested. Ward 4 had nobody file. There's still time to file as a write-in. And then Ward 6, Kim Olson filed for Ward 6. So the primary election will be February 20th and the regular spring election will be April 2nd, Tuesday, April 2nd.
All right, so to be clear, there isn't anybody showing an interest in Ward 4 at all.
So I've never spoken with Jesse Liebenow, but at one point he expressed an interest
Oh,
because he lives in Ward 4.
okay, I didn't know that either.
Yep.
No, I always thought you couldn't do that, run for mayor and alderman at the same time. Am I?
I don't know,
correct?
well, he didn't submit papers to run, but I
Oh,
think he
okay.
expressed an interest in interviewing and being appointed. to the role.
Because I could be wrong, I just wanted to know if that's true or not. Can you run for both positions or not?
I think you can, and you
Really?
just need to choose.
Okay,
I'll confirm, but I believe that is the case. No? Disagree, agree?
No, I have no idea. I don't know.
Is that a little louder? Give it a hand. All right, any other questions, comments? So with that, we'll move on to the treasurer's report. Update on tax